Hey,
here.
you. We are here and we're back. Oh
Another
my
episode.
goodness. I know, I know. I
It feels
think,
like it's been a hard couple of days, huh?
yeah, it's been a week and it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
Um,
Not
and
even lunch at Wednesday.
there's that what's it called? Uncensored poo, or like the comics where Pooh and Piglet, but like they swear. They're
I
like on
don't know
Facebook.
this.
Um,
I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to
I'll
look
send
that
one
up.
to you. But
Please.
if I quote it, we'll get that explicit rating on it. Which I don't
Great.
know if that helps us or not. Like, do people want to listen to it because it's explicit? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's generally just one of us drops an F bomb at some point, and that gets
hmm
slapped on there.
hmm
Um, so
Are you Pooh or Piglet in this instance?
I think it's Pooh, because Pooh says this has been a really tough week, and Piglet says it's only Wednesday, and Pooh says F, but the whole word. There's some of
Yeah.
the best that I've ever seen, and there's a name for them. I don't remember what it is,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like Swear Trek on Twitter, where it's like gifs of Star Trek, but they throw swear words into it,
hmm
which is one of my favorites. And I wish it would migrate to Mastodon or somewhere else, but
Yeah,
so far
not
not yet.
Twitter.
I need to
hmm
start kind of harassing those fun accounts and be like, "You need to move, like
Right.
get over here." All right, so today we have Mr. Riley, our utility player, but we're not talking utility or account
Oh,
service or even like digital. We're talking about things he hates.
yeah. But they're all kind of
Um,
in the digital bucket for the most part.
they are, they are. We didn't get to a couple of things that I believe producer Zach prepped for us in the episode, but we can cover them
Yeah.
here. Apparently, he has some issue with vertical record players.
like a, I need more information. Like a jukebox? Or like a, I
Um,
don't know what a vertical record player is.
I think it's kind of like, so like I think the record goes in vertically, if I'm
So
not
I will
sure.
quickly jump in just
Yeah,
to explain
okay.
it a little bit.
Okay,
But
good. Thank you,
yeah,
Zach, because this
but
is your note.
basically, he really cares about like listening to music and like the sound quality and like keeping like records like intact. And apparently, vertical record players are like the worst thing you can do to your records because very
Oh, they
easily,
damaged the
yeah.
record.
And so one time,
Mm.
somebody told him that they were gonna get one, and he like freaked out. He was like, "No, you can't do that." So
Wow.
funny little thing, but
He, it's like a, that's a, he's passionate about the things that he really cares about.
So I
Committed
have
to
been
quality.
I have been debating getting some vinyl for the office, getting like a retro record player and speakers. I guess we could run it through our speakers because there are Bluetooth adapters that would just go to those speakers, but
Mm-hmm.
actually like getting some cool classic vinyl and running it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
vinyl has outsold CDs for the first time since like CDs really became popular, but also it is in part because CDs are declining because we all get our music digitally now.
From the
And
internet.
yes, from the
Yes.
interwebs.
The cloud.
And I knew this one. Riley hates hot drinks, so no hot coffee, no hot tea
Mm-hmm.
for him. He'll do iced, but those are like, bleh.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so we didn't ask him those. Sorry, in the episode you don't get his hot takes on
His hot
those.
take or his cold take.
His cold take on his cold horizontal take. That's sort of a weird visual. Um, but yeah, but we do talk about things, and some of them are digital related, and some of them aren't. Like some of them are just general, really good rules of thumb for
It's like,
life.
yeah, just like being a good human.
Hmm.
We joke that Riley is our best adult.
He
Like he's
kind of
just,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, though apparently he does bottle up some of his feelings, so that we need to
hmm
work on. But
hmm
I'll let you work on that with him.
yeah.
Tell me how you feel about that.
Great.
All
Here's a
right,
number
but
for my therapist.
he also did not give us a drink for this one. So producer Zach dug up one that's really great. I thought it was going to be a Cabernet. We talk a little bit about that because Riley he discovered he likes red wine, and
This
so
is why he's the best adult.
yes, absolutely. And so I have, of course, been like, you need to try all of these and see
Yeah.
what you like
You
because
did kind
wine
of give
is
him a
our thing.
tour Tour de France.
Tour de
Tour de
Vin.
Italy.
Tour de Vin.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, at our holiday party, we brought up several wines and had him drink them, and then I think I finished all of the bottles.
That sounds right.
But I just had to lumber upstairs at your house because we were your guests that night, which was great.
That's
Very
great.
comfortable guest room. I liked it.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Ruby Hearts. I've never heard of this drink.
I haven't either.
So he does think that he would like this, but it has bitter things in it, and he doesn't like bitter things. So
Yeah.
TBD. And we did not make him drink it. We did not make this one for it. So it comes from the Publican bar, and specifically bartender Melissa Ramos, who's probably not listening to this. She's not one of our tens of listeners, but hey, if she is, shout out. And that bar's in Chicago, so I had to look it up.
Okay.
In Chicago.
It looks delicious.
It does. So you want to walk us through it, Caitlin?
I would love to. So this is 1.5 ounces of Union mezcal, a half ounce of Campari, which I agree is terrible. 3/4
love
ounce
it.
lime juice, freshly squeezed as always. 3/4 ounce cinnamon-demerara syrup, and I've got a little asterisk behind that. More on that in a moment. 4 ounces of Bell's Two-Hearted Ale. For the demerara cinnamon syrup, you're going to do equal parts sugar and sugar, which is demerara sugar, I guess, if you want to be specific.
Which can be the
Equal
like
parts
it's
of
the
that,
brown
Yeah,
crystally
yeah.
stuff, sugar in the raw
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Works.
Equal parts demerara sugar and water. Bring to a boil and simmer until the sugar dissolves. Add 6 cinnamon sticks and steep for an hour or until desired flavor is achieved. This sounds delicious.
I think the syrup
I
is
like.
something
I think. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and store in the refrigerator. You can keep it for up to a
Yeah.
month. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that in coffee would be good, and like
I have started doing honey and cinnamon in my coffee with like a little bit of cream, and I gotta tell you, it's so I'm like this. I could do this with honey. I could do like a honey syrup with some cinnamon sticks,
100%.
and then just like skip to that at the
we should keep a tally on the website of how many times we've given out a simple syrup recipe in detail on the podcast. Because I feel like every
just
time
a ticker.
every time it comes up, we're like, do not buy simple syrup. You can
No,
make it
it's
so
stupid.
easy. It takes like
For
15
so
minutes.
cheap. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So cheap. And adding cinnamon to it. I mean, then I'm now starting to think about what else you could do. You could do a jalapeno cinnamon simple syrup if you wanted to. That'd be good in cocktails. And you also have me thinking about like, could I do my hot honey in coffee? Would that work? A little spice in the coffee?
It might be interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So when you get all this stuff together, so the ale kind of threw me for a loop here. So it's
Yeah.
like another beery drink, or at least 4 ounces. I mean, 4 ounces. It's about half ale, I guess. So everything goes into a shaker except the beer.
Right. Don't flatten your beer.
Yeah, you don't want to you just don't want to shake carbonated things. Like it gets really messy.
Very quickly.
And you shake that with ice until it's well chilled, and you'll know that if you have a metal or glass shaker because your hands will be freezing, and that's when it's pretty good. It'll also maybe start to frost over. You put it in a Collins glass over fresh ice. I'm trying to remember. Is a Collins glass the tall one?
Tall,
thin.
one.
Yeah.
Much like our Collins.
Much like our Riley Collins, who's our tallest employee and thin. Then you top it with the beer, garnish with a cinnamon stick, and you are good to go. But I think the takeaway from this is make a batch of the cinnamon-demerara syrup and keep it on hand for all of your beverages, because anything that you could put cinnamon in, and then also make batches of other flavored demerara syrups, because why not? I mean, I'm thinking like basil, thyme, like you could do herby ones. Like I'm thinking about like that in like a gin drink, because I know you love your gin. This is good.
I'm trying to think. We had like an infused syrup. I think it was basil. Basil simple in like a cucumber gin tonic situation that was really pretty solid.
I had a cucumber gin fizz once, which was interesting. It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
I've obviously you've broken me and made me into a gin drinker. So
Yes.
congratulations, Caitlin.
We can all go home now.
All right,
No one
things I
cares
don't
now.
hate anymore would be gin.
Correct.
And that's a good jump to get into a dance break and things Riley hates.
Let's do it. Welcome back.
We're here. I know, and I think I have notifications turned um, on my computer, so I'll turn those off. But that happens, and that's it's just real world.
Do not
So
disturb.
I know, and I
Important
used
business.
focus until end of this event. There we go. All good.
Cool. I've never
Um,
used that. Smart.
yeah, it's pretty handy. It connects with your calendar, so it's very nice.
Everybody knows where we are all the time.
That is true of life, and we know where Riley is today. Hi, Riley.
Hello.
Okay, for a minute there, I thought you weren't going
I
to
was like-
respond, and I was like, okay, I guess we don't know where Riley is.
I'm hiding.
But yeah, so Riley, we're excited to talk to you about all the things you hate, which I know is such a strong word. We did Zach's dislikes because we just couldn't get all the way to hate. But first, I think we should talk about this cocktail. So we went over it in the intro. I understand Zach chose this. You didn't choose it.
No, I did not. I looked it over.
I mean,
and
I was-
thought it would be okay.
Okay, but you've never actually tasted this cocktail.
I've never had
Okay.
it, so I can't
Okay.
say if I like it or hate it. So
We will correct that. I personally was thinking about this yesterday, knowing we were recording today, and was just thinking it's going to be a glass of Cabernet. Like we did a rosé not too long ago. It's going to be a glass of Cabernet, but it's not.
Well,
It might have been.
I thought after our holiday party it should have been a spaghetti.
Oh, that would have been good.
That Riley asked my husband, like, what is a spaghetti? What is this? And Tyrell got so excited. He was like, do you want one? And then we ran out of Miller High Life. So
I
So
physically
for those
watched
of
his
us,
eyes light up as soon as I asked.
he was so happy.
And I was like,
oh
he's on
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So for those of us who don't know, what's a spaghetti, Caitlin?
It is Miller High Life and a shot of Aperol. And you take a swig out of the High Life and then pop in your shot. And then it's like a parking lot cocktail. But it's like, it's a parking lot cocktail. Miller High Life, for those of you that don't know, is the champagne of beers.
Of course.
Which is the only beer that I will drink. And
I-
only because it's the champagne of beers.
So I worked on that in the early 2000s as they were
Really?
trying to make a comeback. I didn't work deeply on it. I was an account person, so we just were brought in for things. But yeah, like as they were trying to make a comeback, and there was this whole debate, like we should dump the champagne of beers, and everybody's like, no, you can't dump that. Like that's the
No.
only thing you've got. Like it's that, and you're like the closest beer to water, I guess.
No.
No, not for you. Okay.
No.
So this is
I appreciate that it's classically good looking.
okay.
The
So did you
bottle
like?
shape is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, true. It's a little different. Did you like the spaghetti, Riley?
I did. I mean, it wasn't like anything too crazy because it really is just like a parking lot cocktail. I mean, I would call it a special cocktail. Lighten it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
I would tell you, you can't really get it in Italy because they don't really do Miller High Life over there. Although it is exported, it's just not going to be as common. But I'm sure you could find something else to do with it. But just do that in the States. That's an Americanized use of Aperol, for sure. All right. Well, enough about drinks.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. Shall we get into what you
Yeah.
hate, Riley? Because I looked through your list, and you have a list, and I cheated and looked at it on
Cheater.
accident. I was looking for the show notes, and I got your show notes instead of these show notes. I've closed it. I don't have it open, so not open right now. But let's get rolling. So what do you hate?
I mean, the list is very long, but I have to like
Okay,
condense it
four or
just for
five
this.
things.
Yes.
Like we got
I mean,
a half hour max here.
I mean, the list is very long for just things in life and not in marketing, but it is what it is. So we'll jump
It's
into
so
the first
funny
one.
because you are by and large the most tolerant.
You are. I
Yeah.
think there's only one thing, because we did, of course, people can do the throwback to your utility player podcast, where you just really want to help. But we did find a point where you actually did say no to something that we asked if you would do, and you had the option to say no. It wasn't required, but like I was kind of shocked. I'm like, wow, we actually found the first thing that
We
Riley's
found
like,
the edges.
I really don't want to do. And it was really like a teaching and instructing kind of thing for potential clients. And you were just like, yeah, not my jam. And we were like, oh, okay.
I maintain that you would be great at it.
I do
That's all.
too. But again, like, not going to force you into it.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I beg to differ,
so yeah.
but it is what it is. That's
And
also
I know
how I
you're not a
tolerate a
fan.
lot of stuff. I just say it is what it is to a lot of stuff, and then just internalize the hate. So,
oh,
I'm
wow.
afraid of seeing it.
That sounds kind of awful.
Right?
You should just brush the hate off. Just be like, it is what it is, not my problem. And away it goes.
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's a skill when you get older. It comes when you get older.
It does. I mean, I've seen you do that. I've also seen you get very mad at a couple of points, but it was generally not something work related. But
Yes.
so yeah, I had something. I was going to say something and now I forgot it. I had a good tangent. It was great. But we're just going to have to roll on with Riley's first thing that he hates. So let's dive into it.
Well. Anyway, the first thing that I hate is probably like one of the biggest things. It was the first thing that came to mind for me was just the general like overpromise with doesn't really matter. Like usually like it's SEO or digital marketing, like overpromising as a whole is kind of just a yuck, like you should
So
know where your boundaries lie and how much you can help. You shouldn't like completely overpromise on stuff, like willingly, I should say.
So those emails I get that are like, we can make you number one on Google.
I
Are
was
those
just
just
gonna pull
not
up
true?
like 12
No.
of those that I've gotten in the last like 3 days. From
Yeah, I
people
also-
just like scouring LinkedIn. Like leave me alone.
I mean, and a good mantra in marketing has always been under promise and over deliver, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's just
And I
in
think
life, right?
it is. It's setting expectations, but not setting them so high that you can't achieve them, but also not like sandbagging completely. But like if you think something's going to take, 2 days, saying it might take 3 days is generally safer. And then if you deliver in 2,
Right.
everybody's happy. But if you say, oh, I can get this done in 24 hours and you'll deliver it in 3 days, now everybody's pissed. Like it just doesn't work. Yeah, I mean, I think tangentially to this is the irrelevant promise. So I get a ton of emails that are like, how would you like 600 new prospects this
Right.
month? And it's like, well, since we probably need 4 or 5 new clients this year, I feel like 600 prospects this month is an overkill.
I
So
don't want that.
you don't know my business. You don't understand. Like, and maybe this is a totally different one and it's not doing your research, but you don't understand who we are. So go away and stop emailing me. But I think that's a good one. Do you find yourself under promising and over delivering, or do you find yourself? Do you ever get caught in this one, Riley, where you over promise
no,
and then
I mean-
shit can't deliver?
I try not to put myself in this place because I know what can come of it and how like just hard it is to dig yourself out of it if you overpromise. I mean, a lot of like smaller agencies will do this where they're like a 2 to 3 man team and they'll just say, hey, do you want to be number 1 on Google? We'll do it for you. And they're like, oh, that sounds good. Like just be realistic in what you can do. Like your word will sell.
So I'm curious, loaded question, like super loaded question. What do you do when someone like, I don't know, hypothetically, your CEO jumps in on an email to a client and overpromises on your behalf? How do you deal with that? Not that that's happened recently or you've had to deal with that. I'm just going to sip my coffee while you answer.
My skin is
Yeah.
crawling. I'm so upset.
I'll have to. Honestly, thinking back to that moment, not naming any names or anything, but
So diplomatic.
thinking back to the moment, I just had to like refocus everything and just kind of be like, hey, this is actually what's gonna happen. Sorry to like have this whole situation spill out on the floor for you, but like let me like clean it up. Like we'll get it taken care of. Like don't worry about it.
Yeah, you did. So you did mention to me like, hey, that's not actually what happened and what we had said we would do. And I was like, oh crap, I stepped in it. And then you did a really good job with the client of resetting the expectation, and it worked out okay. And
Well, thank
I
you.
need to just keep my mouth shut more often. And I also love that when I bring that up, like the exact moment and the exact situation I'm referring to, even though
Well,
everybody else is like, you're vague talking.
yeah,
No,
it's only happened once, so I know exactly like
that's a
what it is.
positive. That's a good
It's a
thing.
positive.
We're all learning. We're all
It happened
learning
once
where
and we
our
fixed
edges
it.
are.
So.
Yeah, Riley doesn't hate when people screw up just once. That's okay. Twice,
Two
he's starting
times?
to get irritated. 3, you're dead to him.
Out of here.
Strike.
Yeah.
You're gone. Sorry.
All right, that's a good one. I mean, the overpromise. I mean, I've been caught in it. I've been really trying to work on that. I more often than not will say, "Let me check with my development team. Let me check with my creative team," and then hope that they don't overpromise. Because if they do, it's going to be like, "Come on, let's go."
Well, I think the other thing is like the other half of that is like just because you could doesn't mean that you should. So like yeah, we might be able to actually do that, but do you, like if we're going to overpromise on a timeline, do you want to do that to your team? For this client that might go away tomorrow, do you want to bust your butt for them when like the demand is unreasonable, and like why are we putting ourselves in that position when we have to come back and work with these people and
Yeah, and
like
I think
our coworkers every day, right? Like what? I don't know.
And I think for me, that's one of those where, like, and again, we protect our nights and weekends pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've had some evening emergencies lately, and they annoy me as much as you. But part of it comes down to, like, okay, like, is the client paying for this? Like, how much are they paying? And, if you need a rush, yeah, there's a rush fee. And we've instituted rush fees because we needed to. And in part, like, that helps our profitability, which means that we can pay better, we can kick out bonuses. And if you're compensated for that extra work, like if you get called into a part-time job and you have to work an extra shift, you get more money. If you have to work a holiday, you get, time and a half or double pay, that type of thing. Because they're rewarding you for that extra work. And I think I've just gone off on a tangent that's completely off of overpromising. But part of what I was thinking about in that is you can always ask a client in particular or anybody, do you have a deadline in mind? Is there a date you have to hit for your board, for a launch, for whatever? And then if it's far enough out and you're like, oh yeah, that's far enough out, you can say, I think that's probably safe, but let me check with my team. And then if they're like, oh, we need this in 2 weeks, and the team's like, we can do it in 3 days, it's like, okay, well, over the next 2 weeks, let's deliver early, but not like tomorrow. Let's deliver 3 days early, 4 days early. And it allows us to balance workload, right?
Right.
All right. I feel like that's beaten to death now. Don't overpromise, people. It's not good.
Don't do it.
All right.
Moving on to
What's
the second
next?
one. We have Black Hat SEO tactics. Now, these are just kind of it's the practice of going against search engine guidelines to basically get an advantage over ranking and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, if you do get caught doing these tactics, you can actually be penalized harder than where you were starting at. So
Yeah, you lose. And I think so. 2 things. One, Zach, I'd like some like Old West, like the whistly. That like, yeah, that thing when he says black hat, because it comes from the black hat on bad cowboys, white hat on good cowboys, Lone Ranger thing, which we covered in an episode at some point. I'm sure that's aired. It has to have. We recorded that a long time ago. But I think what you hate even more than people doing it is it ends up coming to somebody to clean up. And it is hard. It's way harder to start at -100 than at 0. And it goes back to that kind of overpromising. Like, you can't dig them out of that hole like that fast. There are things we can do to try to mitigate it, but especially Google, when they penalize you, like,
You're in Google jail.
Yeah, they put the smack down. I mean, Facebook will put you in jail for like 24 hours, and that's fine. I don't even know how Twitter's doing it anymore. It's completely random who gets banned and who doesn't. But
there's no rhyme or reason to that.
Yeah, and I think it ladders up to things that create unnecessary extra work for a lot of other people. and also like waste your budget. Like we would rather not spend money digging you out of a hole. We'd much rather spend money building you up.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll
Well,
take the
it's
money
same. I
either
mean,
way.
like we run into the same thing when we're talking about like website rebuilds or fixing past mistakes, where it's like it's way easier for us to start from scratch and do it right than it is to like try and untangle somebody else's mess.
Yeah,
or
I
a
mean,
mess. Period. Yeah.
server website migrations are super easy if it's just a clone one-to-one. But if we're migrating from one platform to another, we've started to catalog a big list of caveats that have to go with that. That there is certain functionality that you can and can't do. And I know you're dealing with some. I have one that I'm working on right now that's a build in HubSpot, but the other sites are in WordPress, and they'll move to HubSpot eventually. But through this build, we've actually agreed that when they move to WordPress, it's a redesign and build from the ground up. It's not just to migrate or when they move from WordPress to HubSpot. And that's good. And they also have a really like broad timeline, which is great. I love that.
I love that too. For me and for Jesse.
Yeah. Okay. So no black hat, no wasting Riley's time, no making him spend his hours on things you shouldn't have done in the first place. So hand slaps.
I mean,
for that.
you can take all of these points that I have and really like peel them back layer by layer to just reveal that it's just like a base, like don't start off on the wrong foot. Like if you don't know how to do something, go to somebody that does, you know. These are just like specific like examples of that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
I mean,
apply
and
to so many things.
I would say that probably my best guess would be 10 to 15% of our income comes from fixing other people's mistakes. Some years more, some years less, but that's kind of a good average. And it's a fairly substantial number. And again, like we'll do it and we'll help and we're grateful to be helpful. But we'd rather actually be spending that money to build you up than to fix something that was broken. Those are good. These are good conversation starters too.
Thank you.
What's next? Number 3.
Moving on, this is another one that really like applies to a lot of different things, but it's basically just cheaping out originally on something and having somebody internally do it for you. So this could apply to doing websites or your own SEO or your own digital. Like if you have somebody internally that doesn't necessarily know how to do something, maybe you should look externally for some help.
How hard could it be?
Exactly.
Right. Oh, I hate that phrase. I'm sure this is really simple. Are you? Because you don't know. I mean, it's much like doing your own plumbing if you have no idea what you're doing. You call an expert for that.
You call JJ and he comes and he tells you that you're not crazy and here's how to fix your problem. That's what happened at my house this morning. And you say, thank you so much. Please send me an invoice. I look forward to compensating you for your time and your expertise.
So did JJ fix your problem or just tell you how to fix it?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Or I think he fixed it. We'll see at 9:00 tonight when the sound has been happening historically.
Oh.
It's wild. Living in an old house, I tell you what.
Are you sure it's not a ghost?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We have video evidence that it's not a
The
ghost.
ghost of the
Okay. Have
washing
you
machine.
talked to the other ghosts in the house to make sure that they're...
We can like pinpoint when it started based on when we had the water softener installed.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. I mean,
Fine.
unless the ghosts were really attached to the hard water, in which case we probably have to have a different conversation. But
Yeah, I don't think
There's
ghosts
a
shower.
spiritual
I
connection
don't know,
to
maybe,
the hard
yeah, like
water.
the mineral content.
Oh, it could be. I mean, that's an interesting one. That's definitely a conversation for a completely different podcast on a completely different network.
Not this.
All right. So yeah.
Don't
mean,
cheap out.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
something to be said for sometimes fumbling through something, but going back to the previous one, it just makes work harder in the long run. It makes it more expensive.
So I think what I'm gleaning from this in my personal expertise and experience is like if you can fumble through one time and you have to repeat the same where like you can use what you learned the first time a second time, then it makes sense to fumble through. But if you're just like gonna figure it out and not understand like A to B, it's not helpful.
Okay, so we're
It's
differentiating.
replicable.
I get
Yeah.
it. So there's this self-teaching and learning as you go
Yeah.
that is completely different from, oh, you're $4,000 for that. I don't want to pay that. I'm going to have my admin do it instead. Who knows nothing about it, doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to
Right.
be a marketer, um,
Hmm.
but pulls
Well, I
in.
think it's like a shift that happened when social media was newer, like probably 5, 10 years ago, when it was like marketing is so easy with social media, and now it's like Facebook management gets lumped into the poor receptionist's job title, where it's like you can put a picture on Facebook, you know how that works,
I
and
didn't
there's
sign up
like
for this.
zero strategy behind it because like Phyllis is sitting behind the desk, like, bless her heart, posting pictures of her grandkids or whatever it is, you know. It became very reductive, I think, to the actual profession and strategy.
Yeah, I mean, goes back to the I'll just have the intern do social media. It's like,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, they don't know your brand, they don't know your voice, they don't know your company. You can teach those things, but they're also probably there for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, maybe
Mm-hmm.
13 weeks if you're lucky.
And then you get to
And
start over.
yeah, and that's, I mean, one of my biggest frustrations owning a business is, continuity of employees and
Mm-hmm.
having to reteach that all the time. So when you put it on somebody who's by definition a temporary employee, and
Yeah.
also by definition cheap, like some people don't pay interns. I think in some states you have to pay interns now. We pay interns, of course.
Yeah.
It's just a big thing for me because I think you're doing work, you need to be compensated for it.
Right.
Of
um,
course.
but yeah, but they are, I mean, they're affordable, more affordable than somebody with 10 years experience. That makes sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, cheaping out is just bleh.
Mm-hmm.
I think people also
would
do it
go
with like web
back.
hosting and other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
bad.
go ahead.
Um, I would like go back to like the whole fumbling topic there, and like
Yeah.
you can fumble through smaller tasks, but when it's a big recurring task like building a website or like doing your SEO or like social media management, you should probably go externally for that because it can snowball into something that's way bigger that of course somebody else is going to have to bail you out of eventually.
Well, and the other thing I use as a selling point, and we use this with HubSpot, we use this with SEO, with Google, is like with HubSpot, we work with, I think it's 30 some clients right now, and we're in hubs constantly of varying like starter, professional, enterprise. We're doing questions. A question just came up in our Slack about like, hey, can you do this? And so we'll see something from one of us who's working on something that's applicable to another client. If
Mm-hmm.
you've got one person internally doing something, they're siloed in your situation. It helps to have that resource that's like, oh, well, these other two clients did it this way, or we handled this way a year ago. Um, so having that expertise of either multiple people or people who work in multiple
Mm-hmm.
iter-
Disciplines. Yeah.
iterations of what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
um, super like you more bang for your buck. Like you get so much more bang for your buck for that.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And on the web hosting, like the one that kills me, like with that kind of thing, is people have said, oh, like, well, GoDaddy has a special. It's only $6 a month for hosting, and it's like, okay, so that's $72 a year. Yes, we charge $250, but we're also in a secure, dedicated hosting environment. It's locked down. We've never had anybody get hacked. Like, all of these things that our
You get what you pay
environment
for.
handles. And invariably, like, we'll get people from GoDaddy in particular where their site got hacked because, I mean, they're just big. Like, they're a big target for hacking. It's not necessarily that they're, unsafe. It's just, if I hit your window with a baseball bat so many times, at some point it's going to break. And if you've got
Right.
a whole lot of windows, I've got a whole lot of opportunities to break something. So yeah, it's just, and part of me is also like, okay, so you're going to like do this for $180 a year, like that's where you're going to save your money. And I get saving where you can, it's saving pennies and not spending money you don't need to, but like you said, Caitlin, you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, don't cheap out. It's so sad. I think alcohol is another place where you really shouldn't cheap out. Like you can only go so far. Like I love it. So there's a lot of bars here in Omaha where Tito's is kind of like their vodka because it's a really affordable vodka, but it's also really good. But when I was in Puerto Vallarta, Tito's was like,
it?
it's pretty good. It's not
But
bad.
it's vodka.
Oh, I know
Uh.
you hate all vodka. For vodka, it's pretty good. But when I was in Puerto Vallarta, a lot of places Tito's was like top shelf, and I was like, "What?"
Huh.
But I mean, but there it's an import. It's made,
Mm-hmm.
from what I understand, it's made here, in the U.S.
Texas.
So for gin, like you don't want to go with the Gordons in the plastic jug, to put it in Caitlin's terms.
We're a
You-
Hendrix family.
Yes, yes, and you don't have to go all the way to a Hendrix or a Tanqueray, but like there's some acceptable stuff in there that you can do. So don't cheap out on your marketing. Don't cheap out on your cocktails.
I feel like wine is like an exception sometimes. You can find a really like good cheap wine sometimes. It's rare.
Wine,
but-
yeah, wine pricing. Oh, I could find you so many
We don't have
$7 or
time for
$8
that
bottles.
today.
That's a whole other episode, probably
Sorry,
without
Well, so,
Caitlin.
I mean, it's like the same thing as like a scotch or whiskey. Like if you're in a blend, it's going to be more affordable because it's replicable, it's consistent. So like find a decent red blend at like $8 or $9 a bottle, and yeah, have yourself a night.
Well, and it's also a volume play with wine as
Mhm.
well. And so like a Costco, part of why they can sell, and even Trader Joe's, why they can sell stuff for $7, $8, $9
Yeah.
a bottle is because
They're
they buy
buying it in,
so
like,
much of
The
it.
truckload. Mhm.
And there's some places where they'll contract with the entire winery and they'll buy it all out. So they're basically like almost a wholly owned subsidiary. They're not.
Wow.
So yeah, but I mean, they also just do volume. But the
Mhm.
blend is a really good one because, like in Italy, especially, like just the house Chianti, whatever they're putting in a bottle, whatever grandma like has been serving for years, it's generally like super cheap and really,
Mhm.
really good.
Mhm.
So yeah, traveling abroad, you've got some different things that you can look at, but fun times. I mean, and you can
So
also
many
not
tangents.
cheap out on price, but go for like, because you can find a really great gin that's on sale at the right place, or a whiskey that's on sale, but it's about like cheaping out on the quality is just
Yeah.
not something to do.
Mhm. Definitely.
Was that
Is that
number
our last
3?
one?
Is this our
That was
last one?
number
Do you have
3.
4?
Yes. Yes. I
Oh.
have 4th.
Oh,
Probably the
actually,
most,
looking at the
like,
time,
niche.
We're doing okay.
we're good.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
we're
a
going
niche?
niche.
It's
Yes.
probably like one of the most niche ones, and it was a little bit harder to explain, but it's really just the misunderstanding of like marketing knowledge as a whole that a client may have. And if you don't lean into teaching them how some of the stuff works, it could kind of lead to an overpromise in their own mind. So like SEO, like as an example, like if you just kind of bring up like, oh yeah, like you kind of fight for the top spot, then they start thinking, oh, so we can get to the top spot, right? And it's like, well, it'll take time, but we're hoping we can get you there, It's a really complex answer, but they don't have the time to hear it most of the time. So really just
What kind of
trying to give them a short explanation of what you're doing and why it's helping helps most of the time.
Yeah. It's also like an expectation setting too, where like our job as experts is to set the stage a little bit and say, here's what's possible, here's how we think we can get there. Do you trust us to take you there? And like, will you let us push you a little bit and encourage you, but also kind of stretch your comfort zone to see what's possible?
Yeah, it does come down a lot to trust, because like I can't explain my 25 years of experience doing this. Like that's impossible, but I can give you some rationale and justification, and explain why I want to do this, or why we should go forward, or why I think this is the right idea. But there has to be that sort of understanding that, we're trained for this. This is what we do. But yeah, marketing gets a bad rap because a lot of people are like, oh, that's so easy. Like anybody could do it. And it's like, well, sometimes, but there's a lot of it that is not super easy. It's hard.
Well, I also feel like we get a bad rap because it's like people think we're like sleazy, where it's like we're trying to pull one over.
Really? Well, yeah. And I think,
marketing and advertising, like the like them, the collective them, where it's like, what are they trying to?
I think that was in one of my, was it Things I Hate? Did I record a Things I Love? I can't remember. I don't know what's aired, what hasn't aired. Zach can have to tell us, but I think that was one of those where they think that you're just going to spend the whole budget if I tell you what the budget is, so they won't tell you the budget. And it's like, well, no, like, I mean, yes, some agencies will do that 100%. Some marketing people will do that. I mean, Facebook's really great at that. Like, you give them $1, they're going to spend $1. You give them 100, they're going to spend 100, no matter what. But for us, it's really about getting the most bang for your buck. So if there's a scope that we can do that achieves your goal for less than that, we're going to present that to you. But we're also going to present the added value and what more you would get for the extra part of your budget. So basically, can we use your whole budget to exceed your goals, and is that important? And if it's not important and you just need to meet your goals, this is what meets your goals. And it's all math. I mean, it's all equations these days. With how that works, and we can adjust on the fly and move forward. But yeah, that's a rough one.
It is a rough one. I don't have any like experience with it really, like firsthand, thank God, because really, like, it will just lead into the over-promising like point that we had the first time. Like, now you have to back off the over-promise that you never really made to begin with. So just educate your clients.
Yeah, not hearing expectations is a problem too, which is why we try to document those things. And that goes right to it, like, oh, I thought this would take 5 minutes. And it's like, no, it's up to us to set the expectation that doesn't take 5 minutes. And also, like all service industry people, we bill in 15-minute increments. So if it takes 5 minutes, you're going to get billed 15 minutes. But also if it takes like 17 minutes, we'll roll that back to 15. We're kind on it, on the rounding. And it all comes out. All right. So recap the 4 for us. I don't have them in front of me, but just the 4 things Riley hates. Mr. Riley, what are they?
Overpromising on rankings and results, black hat SEO tactics, cheaping out on your marketing and doing it internally, and misunderstandings that would lead to false overpromising.
Wow, that last one was more loaded than I thought. That's really loaded.
Would you like a secret 5th? That doesn't have anything to do with marketing.
Absolutely.
Cilantro, period.
Yes,
Oh,
correct.
cilantro.
Cilantro is garbage.
I like cilantro. I don't have the soap taste though. Like, I don't have
I
that
don't
gene.
either. It tastes like grass. I think.
But I like
it's
that.
Like
I like a
I've
good,
got the
like,
soap
leafy,
taste.
grassy.
No.
Oh, so you've got soap, you've got grass.
Arugula all day, every day.
Oh, arugula is like
Yes.
10 times better than any leafy green whatsoever. But
Give
I'm
me
not gonna
arugula and a green onion, and I'll be set.
now I kind of want to put arugula on a fish taco. I feel like that would go well. The peppery.
Oh,
Yeah.
But then I have to make fish tacos or go buy fish tacos and buy arugula. Yeah, this is too much now. It's too much effort. So what about like trashy TV shows? How do you feel about Love is Blind, Riley?
God, please.
I don't really get into Love is Blind as much. That's not like one that I really follow all that much. I let my girlfriend do all the watching, and then she can fill me in if I need to. But some of the other ones that Netflix has isn't too bad.
Yeah,
Too Hot
Caitlin
to
thinks they're
Handle
all a
and
waste
the
of
other
space.
ones.
It's too much anxiety. I live up there anyway. I don't need help getting hyped up. Drama makes me want to vomit. Like,
Oh, I
too
don't
much.
internalize any of their like drama. I just observe, laugh, enjoy my wine and lately my Girl Scout cookies. And
Those were Brian's Girl Scout cookies.
no, the I always want to call them the Samoas, but that's not what they are. The caramel delights in the Midwest, and the
Love
peanut butter
those.
patties are mine. Brian doesn't like either of those really. He'll eat the peanut butter patties, but those are mine generally. But that was like 2 boxes that were in there. The rest of them are most
What did
definitely
Brian? Thin Mints?
is. We still have Thin Mints in the freezer from either last year or 2 years ago. I don't know when.
They're still good.
No, and I told him, I'm like, just like make a crust out of them. Make some sort of a pie. Use those for a crust because we've got so many. And they're frozen. They'll break really easy. So we'll see. If we make a pie, we'll talk about it in a future episode.
With a little grasshopper cocktail.
All right. Well, I could see Zach giving us the, hey, let's wrap this up. We've gone over a half hour. So, Riley, thank you. It was good to see some of these things you hate. They're not too severe. I think they're all legit. You're justified in your hatred.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to seeing you on a Things Riley Loves sometime in the future.
Ooh.
I know we're recording those episodes at some point, but
It's going to be just us.
yep. Oh, that's great. Riley loves his job.
His
Heart.
coworkers and his kitties and his Beth.
Yes. All
That's
of
going to be a
these.
short episode. That'll be like 4 minutes.
Well, the
These
episode
are the
We
things
just
I
did
love.
it. Already
Bye.
done.
Done.
Yeah.
We already did it. Yep. At the end of this one. All right. Well, thank you, Riley. We will.
Thanks for having
we'll
me.
talk to you soon. All right.
You're the best. Bye.
Bye.
That's it for another episode of Cocktails, Tangents, and Answers.
We hope it was as much fun to listen to as it was to make.
You can find me on Twitter or Instagram at RichMackey. I try not to make it too difficult. It's just my name. And you can find our agency at Antidote_71. That's ANTIDOTE_71 on Twitter and Instagram as well.
And you can find me at home sipping a craft cocktail prepared by my in-home bartender. It's my husband.
We'll be back with another episode every other week and a whole new cocktail recipe, plenty more tangents, and of course, answers to those pressing marketing questions.
And if you'd like to send us a question, you can go to ctapodcast.live to send us an email.
Or you can call our hotline at 402-718-9971 and leave us a voicemail. Your questions might be used for future episodes of the podcast.
For now, like and subscribe and tune in next time.